Here's my top 23 players of the tournament and why. So I'm going to attempt to pick my team of the tournament. So I'm going to pick 23 players across the women's Six Nations. Now, I know I'm going to annoy a lot of people with some of my selections, as there was some incredible players to pick from, and I'm never going to please everybody. So if you want to leave your rage in the comments, that's fine, or your support in the comments, that's great. But either way, let me know your thoughts and your team of the tournament as well. So to kick things off, we're going to start with loose head props. Now, there was two standout options for me in this position. I've gone with Hannah Bottomon for England. I think she had an outstanding tournament against Wales. She did really key turnovers against all the other nations. She was making line breaks, offloading, just so much more than the set piece. Now, the close runner-up to that would have been De Hay for France. Again, great tournament, line breaker, very, very solid. So it was a toss-up between the two of them, but Bottomon came out on top. Moving on to hookers. This one was tough. Some absolutely world-class hookers across all of the nations in the Six Nations. One contender was Lana Skeldon for Scotland. I think she's had a great tournament, especially in the opening rounds. But the hooker I've gone for is Neve Jones for Ireland. She's been the tackling queen. She's been at the front of the defence, and also really strong carrier as well. Then moving to tight head prop. Now with the props, I think that England and France have the strongest strength and depth in that area. So I have picked my starters from those countries. A really close call between Maud Muir and Assia Kalfawi, but I've gone for the French prop. She had the most offloads of any of the players in the Six Nations. That's quite some feat for a tight head prop. She's also got a solid set piece and works really hard defensively as well. I know she got a red card against England, but still, looking at the whole tournament, I would say that she is my pick. So that's the front row sorted. Let me know your comments, agree or disagree with my selections before I move on to the second rows. So not picked as my starting second row, but definitely worth a mention are the Italian duo, Isabella Locatelli and Giordana Duca. Both have phenomenal work rates and have strong carries and really get Italy their front foot ball. But on to the players that I have picked. I've gone for the combo of Zoe Oldcroft for England and Sam Monaghan for Ireland. Both incredible players. Zoe Oldcroft could easily have back row on her shirt as well, and the pace that she had in some of the games, you'd think she was a back. Great line out skills, but also the line breaks and her general handling makes her such a quality player. Then on to Sam Monaghan, so key for the Ireland line out to operate. Defensively as well, she puts in a real shift and she's a real leader from the front. Moving on to the blindside flanker. Now this one was super tough. When you consider the options out there are so many number of players that could have taken this spot. To mention a few, Charlotte Escudero for France, Jacqueline, high work rate, really, really solid player, as well as Rachel Malcolm, who I've never seen take a backward step, such a workhorse, does so much for Scotland. But I've gone for Ireland's Aoife Wafer. She has had an outstanding tournament, a real fan favourite, picks so well off the scrum, can play 6, can play 8, such a young, incredibly talented player. On to open side flankers. Again, so many players out there, and across all the teams, a lot of the players can slot into 6, 7 and even 8, so it does give some flexibility for my selection. Again, some players to mention: Marley Packer, a real feisty player for England, Romain Ménager, 8 or 7, tough player. I've gone for Wales's Alex Callender. Not only did she have the top carries out of everyone, she also had joint top amount of tackles. So that to me is a player that puts in one hell of a shift. Number 8, there are some fantastic players out there, but for me there was only one person I was going to put in this shirt, and that is Alex Matthews for England. Every single time she puts on that England shirt, she puts in an outstanding performance. She was crucial against France, not just for her try, but her ball carries, her tackling, just such a physical athlete. And now moving on to the back. So scrum halves, instead of talking up all the scrum halves, because I think that every single one of them could put their hand up to take this spot, I'm going to go straight in, and I've picked Pauline Bourdon-Sansus. I think she is integral to how France play. When France are good, she's always involved. She sniped against England. She'll play out of her 22. She's a very smart, quick player. So she is my pick at 9, and this one I know is going to annoy some people, and I know there are quality players out there, but for me personally, she offers everything I'd want to see in a 9. And worth jumping in at this point saying, I'm trying to get a balance here as well across the nations, making sure that everybody's represented. Now moving on to fly half. Now for me, a fly half is always going to shine when you've got a solid pack and you've got loads of quality ball. So this narrowed it down to 2 players, and again, it's between France and England. I love how Kewar plays. I love that she puts the ball in behind. She's a really smart player. But for me, Holly Aitchison gets it. I think the way that she controlled when the forwards had it, when the backs got it, for me, she just really controlled the game plan, looked calm and composed. There was questions about her kicking at the start of the tournament, and she answered those in the last 2 rounds, being really, really good off the tee. Then moving on to the wingers. So I'm going to look at left wing first. Being a former winger myself, this is probably my favourite position to pick. Normally as a winger, you are going to shine when your team's going forward, when you're getting loads of ball and you're on the dominant side. So it might be expected I was going to pick from England. However, for me, there was only one player that was going to get this, Elisa Dinker for Italy. Now I know she played 13 for the last 2 rounds, but for the first 3, she played 11. So that's who I am picking there. When you look at her stats of meters made, they are really impressive. And remember, this is for a team who came 5th. So if you're a winger and you're standing out when your team's struggling, you're doing something right. Also her defensive effort, she ripped the ball against Wales, which led to a try. Really exciting player to watch. I was going to do the wingers together, but I'll save 14 for later, and I'll take you through my centres. So first off, inside centre, number 12. Again, some real quality in this position. For example, Tatiana Hurd for England, Gabrielle Vernier for France. But for me, there's one player who has really stood out in that position, and that is Lisa Thomas for Scotland. Her tactical kicking has been really, really key to how this Scotland team performed. She also, as shown in her try against Ireland in the final round, has a really nice change of direction and power step she's able to use. Then moving on to outside centre, and again, I'm going to go straight in with this one. There is only one player who I'm picking in that position, and that is Meg Jones. I think she's been absolutely crucial for how wide England are able to get the ball. And no one is forgetting that back inside kick that she put in for the Kildun try against Ireland. A great player, full of energy, reads the game really well, gets intercepts, great player. Moving on to 14. So this was my old shirt, so feel quite strongly about this one. And again, I actually think this was quite an easy choice, and this is Abby Dow for England. What I love about Dow is she's not just a winger who finishes when she's in space. Dow doesn't need any space. She can also have 3 defenders in front of her. It's not a problem for her. Her pace, her footwork, her handoff, she is the complete all-round 14. And then moving on to fullback, there's no drama, there's no suspense here, and I can't imagine I'm going to annoy anyone, but feel free to prove me wrong in my selection at fullback, which is Ellie Kildun for England. She scored an incredible 9 tries over the tournament, and the rest of her stats as well, meters made, line breaks, all the rest of it just speaks volumes of what she's been doing. And one of the areas that I've seen the most amount of improvements for Kildun is putting her wingers away. She's always been quick, she's always been a good runner, but now she's got that beautiful balance of when to move the ball and when to carry herself. And of course, she got 3 player of the matches performances, which is incredible for any player to do. So that's my starting 15. Let me know your thoughts, and I'm going to go through the bench now. So replacement hooker, again, there's one player in my mind who I'd want for this role, and that is England's Connie Powell. The impact she makes when she comes off the bench is huge, and you could argue she would start in most other nations in that hooker spot. But for England, her role is coming off the bench, carving up, and that's exactly what I would want her to do in my fantasy top pick team. And then to replacement props, the aim is down just slightly to Bottomand, but I would have her on my bench, as I said earlier. great player, really solid, and you're swapping a like-for-like player there. My tight head replacement, I'd be looking none other than the Wales Tuipulotu. Again, she is a great finisher when she comes off the bench. She scores when she needs to and does those really tight carries which draw in defenders, which is exactly what you want when everyone's knackered and you're bringing her on. Then onto my back five cover, I would go for Giordana Duca. She works really hard and such a solid player. And then my final forward on the bench, because I'm not doing a 6-2 split, I like my backs too much, is Scotland's Evie Gallagher, who got the most breakdown steals. And again, such a workhorse, does so many meters, carries so hard. Now onto replacement scrum half. Now I'm sure everyone here is expecting me to say Natasha Hunt, but I'm actually going to go a different direction. I think that Avon Riley for Ireland has been fantastic. The tempo at which she plays with, her delivery, and just her overall energy and fight. I think she'd come on and do something quite special. Number 22, I'm going French again, and I'm going to go for Gabrielle Vernier. I think she's had an outstanding tournament. She's a really smart player. Great handling, great decision making. Would love her to come on and carve up. And lastly, the last spot on the bench, and my last opportunity to annoy a lot of people, I'm going for Marine Ménager. She scored 2 tries against England, and her and Bourdon Sansus link very well together. They know how to bring each other into the game. She's fast, she's strong, she's got a great handoff. So that's my 23. I think they could take on any 23 that is thrown at them. Let me know what you think in the comments. If there's ones you agree with, this is ones you disagree with, let me know. And if you do like my content, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.